What's up everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Skyforge Developer Q&A series on Attack Gaming. Now over the past week, the developers took to the Skyforge Facebook page to answer a bunch of questions from the community. Now during this video, if I say we are or anything along those lines to an answer, it's not because I'm working on the project, it's just because it's easier to respond the way the developer intended. So let's jump right into the developers Q&A. What is Prestige? Can you tell us more about it? It's very simple. Prestige is their analog of the gear score, i.e. equipment rating. It is the sum total of all your character's stats. The indicator of prestige reflects the development of the character. It increases as you unlock new nodes in the Atlas, acquire new pieces of equipment, or gain more followers. Since there is no leveling system, can we go to any location or instance right in the beginning of the game, or are there some limitations after all? The system of instances implies different levels of difficulty that determine the reward. That is why the content is progressively unlocked. To put it simply, the instances are tied to the amount of prestige your character has. The better your character is developed, the higher the prestige is, and the more adventures that you can go on. What will be the main source of top-end equipment, quests, shops, or craft? Is it standard, or are there special properties depending on the origin? You can obtain the equipment from bosses. Their strength varies depending on the activity. However, the equipment only makes about a third of the prestige of the character. You will also need to progress through the Ascension Atlas and win the faith of your followers to become more powerful. How will bots affect the prowess of the players? How are you going to deal with scripting? Combat in our game is very dynamic and varied. Situation assessment, positioning, and decision-making are all human factors, and it's almost impossible to automate them. Skyforge is our internal project, so we can promptly respond to all attempts to automate gameplay and make corresponding changes in the structure of the server if such precedents occur. Preventing cheating is very important to us, and that's why we spent a lot of time and effort to implementing systems to prevent it. However, it should be noted that we will not be discussing our anti-cheating countermeasures publicly. Will there be analogues of markers that indicate the power of the character? We have, of course, implemented this system for monsters because it's very easy to estimate their strength and compare it to yours. However, in a situation where you face off against another player in PvP, it is rather difficult to take into account all the possible factors and display accurate information for enemies. However, you can get some idea of your opponent's strength by looking at the icons of classes and the indicator of their character's prestige. Will there be global chat? After all, this is one server. Describe the chat systems, please. Game chat is an interesting topic we've been discussing internally. Classic MMO game chats will not work in Skyforge given that there's one server for each territory. Just imagine how many messages there will be in the world at any given time. It will look like an unreadable wall of text. Because of this, we have abandoned the idea of a chat tab for the entire server. Instead, our team came up with a rather innovative idea. Our programmers wrote a special chat service that will allow players in the game to chat to friends that are reading messages from other devices. This means you can chat with other players regardless of whether they're in the game or not. Will the developers maintain a playtest server after the release? Yes, we believe that public testing of the future content is a good thing. First, the players will have a unique opportunity to explore a new part of the game and discuss it immediately. This type of feedback is very important for the development team as it helps to correct some of the features and make them more convenient and interesting. Second, and equally important, private test servers help to fix a number of possible errors at the stage when the update is not yet installed on the game server, and to avoid some serious problems for both the developers and the players. To improve the quality testing, we created an in-game interface for submitting bug reports. It will speed up the process and save some time. Judging by the latest trailers from E3, the characters wield either huge swords or some magical, technological gizmos. Will there be realistic, classic-looking weapons? Given the setting of the game where the hero is an immortal and a future god, the focus should not be on realistic weapons, because we're not playing in the real world. Yes, of course, weapons of certain classes have a classic and realistic sort of appearance. Will there be a skill and talent calculator on the site? The existing functionality of the portal is not final and will be expanded. We want to make it possible for players to work on their character even when they're not in-game. We know from personal experience how many different services are required as you progress through the content. We want to take a broader view of both sides of this gameplay and gather all the useful tools in a single resource. The idea is that players should be able to check their inventory and perform various actions with items, participate in trade, in the life of their guild, set targets in an Ascension Atlas, put together and build character skills and talents. In short, to undertake any activities that are not associated with traveling to locations and fighting, you should be able to do on a mobile phone, for example. But implementing everything is going to take some time. So that is this week's developer Q&A for Skyforge. You can view previous Q&As that we've done on our YouTube channel here, or via the links below. Thank you all for watching. Please be sure to leave us a like and a subscribe, and be sure to stay tuned for future Q&As and more for Skyforge.